when God interrupts. Ask for your prayers. No one likes to be interrupted. I said, no one likes to be interrupted. We can all agree that interruption is something that we are opposed to. In our culture, it is said that people who interrupt are those who are unfriendly, uncivil, and unmannerly. Interruptions can be frustrating. Interruptions are things that happen on a day-to-day basis. Interruptions mess with our rhythm. Interruptions mess with our continuity of life. Interruption, simply put, messes with us. When there is no interruption, we feel like we are in control of things. But interruptions are matters that we do not like, and we have a mutual hatred for interruptions. But sometimes, interruptions, though initially frustrating, can be creative and constructive. God gets credit for many things. Credit for being a loving God. Gets credit for being a comforting God. Gets credit for being a just God. Gets credit for being a God who will be there through the midnight hours. But we don't give him enough credit for the God that will interrupt. The whole story of the Bible can be looked at from the viewpoint of interruptions. The devastation effects of sins interrupted the peace and harmony of life in the Garden of Eden. Beloved, interruptions are the very thing that God would use to communicate to his people. Yes, the same things that we hate, the same things that we dislike, is the very thing that God uses to get our attention. Yes, it's the very thing that God will use to come in and interrupt our lives. Sin interrupts God's plan for the world, and so he interrupts sin by becoming a human being who lives among us, filled with grace and truth, and dies for us. Jonah was fleeing from God, who had commanded him to go to Nineveh and preach repentance. But his escape was interrupted by God's big fish that swallowed him, and while in the belly of the fish, he repented and then went on to Nineveh. God's people were caught in sin and were drifting away from God. And so he sent the prophets like Amos and Ezekiel to interrupt their drifting away from him and bring them back into a relationship with their Creator. The story of Jesus in the gospel is one of interruptions. The announcement of the birth of Jesus interrupts a young girl's life in her wedding plans. The silence of the night is interrupted when angels announce the birth of the Messiah. Jesus' sermon is interrupted by a man of an evil spirit. The sermon gives way to the power of God, which interrupts the power of Satan in the man's life. And with just one word from Jesus, Jesus says, "Go," and the evil spirit is cast out. As the disciples strolled into the town of Nain, enjoying a friendly dialogue with Jesus and listening closely to what Jesus had to say about the kingdom of God, they too were interrupted by the loud wailing and crying as a group of mourners passed by. Beloved, death is always a powerful interruption to our well-laid plans. I said, death is always a powerful interruption to our well-laid plans. For you see, this funeral procession and the mourners' griefs are interrupted as Jesus restores life to the dead man and gives a promise that all of us who believe will one day experience the same interruption to death when we are raised to life. A traitor friend by the name of Judas Iscariot, who needs to go and sell his Lord for 30 pieces of silver. That's about between $185 and $216 in today's present value of money. He sells his Lord for 30 pieces of silver, interrupts Jesus' celebration of the Passover with his disciples. This same traitor and the armed guards interrupt Jesus' prayer in the garden. And finally, the sadness and confusion after Jesus' death is interrupted by the news that he has risen. His tomb is empty. Yes, without a doubt, some interruptions are painful. But on the other hand, interruptions can bring joy. And today's text makes us aware of the interruption that would affect the whole world. Jesus, in the prior reading of our verses, in the beginning part of chapter 21, Jesus is leaving the temple, and he's looking around at one of the most magnificent structures in the world at that time. He tells his disciples that this grand monument will be destroyed. Yes, the history of the temple will be interrupted and brought to an end, and it was. Jesus goes on and says that everything we cherish, every institution and tradition, and every treasure that we count on is stored up will be interrupted and brought to an end. Wars and earthquakes and famines and other disasters in nature, persecutions, when family members will rise up against other members of a family, will interrupt our way of life and the peace we enjoy. Families will be interrupted, businesses will be interrupted, and governments will be interrupted. That's what Jesus was telling them back in Luke 21 when he was talking to the disciples. But if we fast forward until the 21st century in which we live, we can see this happening in our world. Peace and safety in our world and in our communities are very fragile things and can easily be interrupted by hostility, bloodshed, robbery, and fear. The strength and harmony in families has been interrupted and decrepit by violence in the home. Divorce, pressures, and stresses, and rebellious children, and the need for parents to work longer and harder. They've all interrupted the harmony of the family. The interruptions that we experience almost on a daily basis are a reminder that things in this world are very uncertain, unclear, and unreliable. Yes, we're reminded that at any time our own life will be interrupted. And there will come a time when the history of our world will be interrupted. This last and final interruption would happen when Jesus comes again and this world will pass away. When you think about it, the interruptions that we experience in life can make us feel very unsure and uncertain. But I want to remind you on today that there's one thing that will never be interrupted. That's all I'm trying to get to. If there's one thing in life that will never be interrupted. And Apostle Paul says it best that, for I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall or will be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So I said, there's one sin that cannot separate us. God will love us eternally. Whoever believes and trusts in Jesus and his saving power, his saving work on the cross, and whosoever holds on to God's, the good shepherd, hand as they walk life's journey, and listen to his voice and follow his ways, when everything else passes away, will receive the crown of eternal life. The Bible says in James 1 and 12, blessed is the man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to him that loves him. Even though the history of our world will be interrupted, nothing is able to interrupt God's love for us. I said nothing will be able to interrupt God's love for us. Yes, the Bible is very clear that the saving work of Jesus Christ endures for all time, and that God has promised that because of Jesus, he will not hold our sin against us. That he has established an eternal covenant of love, and that he will stand beside us and help us no matter what kind of interruption would disrupt our lives. All kinds of disasters may happen to us in our lives and to our world, but the one fact stands forever. God loves us, and his saving work will never be interrupted. Yes, when Jesus could see only death ahead interrupting his life on this earth, he turned to his heavenly Father in prayer. He was led to see that there was no way he could avoid what was about to happen. But he was strengthened by God and enabled to endure what had happened, what he had to endure. My brothers and sisters, no amount of interruption in our world can take us from the grace and love of Jesus. Well, you see, it's the love that he has given to us freely on the cross that will stand by us when disasters in our world threatens and overwhelm us. Every possession and every power and authority, everything that we cherish in this world will disappear someday, either at our death or when the last day comes. But what will not disappear is God's kingdom and our place in it as citizens of heaven and heirs of eternal life. God's love will last forever. When Christ burst into this world on the last day, and we know he will, he promised he was coming back. Didn't say how, didn't say when, but he did promise that he was coming back. So when he comes back into the world and bursts onto the scene during that last day, that will be the last interruption that we would ever experience. Yeah, there will be no more interruption by sickness. There will be no more interruptions by death. There will be no more interruptions by wars. There will be no more interruptions by natural disasters. No more interruptions by violence. There will be no more interruptions by mass shootings. There will be no more interruptions by injustice. There will be no more interruptions by corruption. There will be no more interruption by immortality. And there will be no more interruption by collusion. Yes, we'll be in the land of no more. I said we'll be in the land of no more. I don't know about you, I just get excited about thinking about being in the land of no more. The trouble of this world will be over. And all heartaches and pains will be gone. And the old saints will say, howdy, howdy, and a never goodbye. And then the male chorus said, I'm just going to move upstairs. In my room upstairs. That's the land of no more. When God burst onto the scene, that's for the last time. Even Jesus said, I don't know the hour that God is coming. But he's coming back for a church without spot or wrinkle. And the question is, will you be ready when he makes his grand return? Because he did promise that he was coming back again. God, when we go with God, we'll be taken into his presence and join those gathered around the throne of grace. Yeah, the words of the song are very helpful when I think about this final interruption.
All right.
Make sure y'all still with me. Okay. Thank you, Brother Smith. I said, please say, I said, when we think of the final interruption, I pause because y'all don't seem to be excited about the final interruption. But when you think about the final interruption, the Bible says in Psalm that God is our refuge and our strength, very present help in trouble. Therefore will not be feared. Though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. Then I jump down to verse 6 and 7. It says, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. There's good news on this morning that the Lord of hosts is with us. And the God of Jacob is our refuge. That's what he's promised us. He will be with us until the very end. Hebrews 13:5 says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. The psalmist says in 23:4, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, then I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Psalm 21:1 says, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life, and whom shall I fear? What a mighty and awesome God we serve. When we think about the final interruption, but because we don't know how, we don't know when, we got some in the meantime. I said, because we don't know when he's coming back, we got some in the meantime. So in the meantime, we need to deal with the interruptions that take place in our everyday life. I said, in the meantime, we need to trust God during the interruption. In the meantime, we need to hold on to God's unchanging hand. In the meantime, we need to lean and depend on God during the interruption. In the meantime, we need to lift up our eyes unto the hills, for what's coming our help. Not all our help come from the Lord. In the meantime, we know that we've been made endure for a night. But joy come in the morning time. I said, joy come in the morning time. What a mighty God we serve. In the meantime, we must lean not to our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our paths. In the meantime, we must lean on the Lord, on his everlasting arm. What a mighty God we serve on this morning. I said, what a mighty God we serve on this morning. God, I love you on this morning. I trust you on this morning. God's a good God. I said, God is a good God. What a mighty God we serve on this morning. When God interrupts, we often think our interruptions are because of Satan, and some are. But God also interrupts us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He interrupts us to shift our focus back on him. The Apostle Paul had to deal with these kinds of interruptions. Shipwrecked, he was jailed and hostile. Even sickness interrupted him in the work God had given him to tell the good news about Jesus. But nothing interrupted his trust in Jesus. My brothers and sisters, if your plans have been disrupted, instead of turning to fear, choose to trust God, believing that he will help you. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape, that you'll be able to endure it. My brothers and sisters, the things that you label as a heartache was probably God's interruption. The thing that you label as the hardest time of your life, and I'm not saying it wasn't, just maybe it was God's interruption. We serve a God who will mess with our plans. But in the meantime, I say in the meantime, and we know that all things work together for the good. To them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose.
If you don't give up on God, he won't give up on you. You can take that to the bank.